Bay for a weekend series in Oakland. 8-2 in their last 10 after sweeping the Giants. And Steven Strasburg on the mound for Game 1.
Well, the Bay Area is starting to feel like our home away from home. Some Nats fans are here at the Oakland Coliseum, opener of a 3-game series in this unusual ballpark. Most of it sits below ground level, and they're checking off their stadiums. Dusty's Ball Club has won 3 in a row over in San Fran. Now the show comes across the Bay to take on the Athletics. Dusty, by the way, looking for number 1800 tonight. Not many managers have made it to that level. Bob and FP, it's an Oakland ball club that plays pretty well at home. They've been a disaster on the road, but these guys can hack a little bit, and Steven Strasburg might have his hands full.
Well, I don't know about that. The A's 3 games ago struck out 19 times. That's a franchise record. Yesterday, they struck out 17 times, and if you go back to Saturday and you look at Steven Strasburg's day, 15 strikeouts, a career high. That's the most in the majors this year. Why? Because he's throwing the fastball wherever he wants for strikes and balls. Same with the curveball, same with the changeup. He's been total domination. So the recipe is there, Carp. If Steven Strasburg's on his A game, you have a chance to see history tonight.
Steven Strasburg, the numbers keep piling up, and outstanding last month, going 4-0, ERA good, strikeouts piling up. Andrew Triggs for the Oakland Athletics. He's a guy who doesn't give up a lot of runs, one of the better ERAs in the American League.
He's a crossfire guy. He's a ground ball pitcher. He's got reverse splits. Lefties are hitting just 157 against him. Righties hitting 283. Look for Ryan Zimmerman to have a big night.
Yeah, Ryan Zimmerman, just like he did in San Francisco, hitting a couple of homers in that series. He went 5 for 12 against the Giants. Overall, in his last 5 games, he's 8 for 19. Some offense around him as well. Adam Lind is going to DH tonight. The Nats bring their road show to Oakland.
If Trey Turner continues to get on base, the Nats are so exciting. He sits safely 9 of his last 12 games to the tune of 321. Beautiful night in the East Bay here. 68 degrees, humidity 58%. Absolutely gorgeous. It'll be a bit of a sun field for an inning or so in right field. So here's the Nats starting lineup. Of course, it's game 2 for Bryce Harper serving his suspension. So Brian Goodwin's down there in the number 9 spot, and in the American League Park, it's Adam Lind as the DH. Trey Turner, fantastic finish to his series in San Francisco, and he is the engine that can make this already really good offense become great. First appearance against the Nats for 28-year-old Andrew Triggs.
Yeah, last start on the 28th at New York against the Yankees. Took the 9-5 loss, gave up 6 runs, but get this, only one of them earned on 6 hits in 6 innings, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 88 pitches. So fastball, 89, slider, cutter, change to go with it. Guy that has to shave the corners. He can't throw a ball down the middle.
Waiver pickup by the A's a year ago, March, from the Baltimore Orioles after he played college ball at USC.
Here's the defense for the A's tonight. Davis, and Joyce, the outfield. Pinder, Plouffe, left side. Lowry, Alonso, right side. And Stephen Vogt behind the plate. 55 errors in their first 53 games, the defense for the A's. And 5 times this year they have committed 3 errors in a game.
Wow. Makes things tough. You saw Bob Melvin, 7th year here, 14th year in the big leagues. So it's Triggs to Turner. Feels like we're in a cemetery now that they've shut down the PA system at 7:07. First pitch for a strike.
7:07.
Years and years ago, the Athletics were one of the first teams, if not the first, to really integrate music into their game presentation, and we've all become so grateful for that. Breaking ball, a swing and a miss.
Well, I was just grateful that I thought you were going years and years ago they used to play baseball in cemeteries, and I was going to say, tighten it up, Cardinal.
Maybe some souls still do. Who knows? 0-2 to Turner, hitting .261, and that's a frisbee way outside. 19th year in the big leagues for the crew chief, Paul Emmel. Quinn Wilcott, 5th year at first. Scott Berry, 12th year, second base. Brian O'Nora, 19th year. He's at third. Turner, swinging a miss on a big hook. 46 strikeouts, 16 walks in just over 58 innings for Andrew Triggs, who's 5-4, 6th best ERA in the American League at 2.64.
So both starting pitchers tonight out of the stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you see that in Major League Baseball, but Triggs used to be a reliever. He's more comfortable out of the stretch, and he's a big-time crossfire guy. Watch where he's stepping, right toward the third baseline. So maybe even behind Jason Worth.
Some runs, some sink on that 90 heater. Only 2 Nationals in the lineup who've ever faced this guy, Adam Lind and Matt Wieters.
I think in interleague play, you can look at video all you want if you're the Nats in the clubhouse, but you know, first at bat, see a lot of pitches from this guy. See what he's got. Find the release point. See the arm angle, the rotation. Maybe you pick something up. Do a lot of homework your first at bat so you get him second time. And if you get him first time, bonus.
Yeah.
But see some pitches.
As you can recall that dugout shot there, everybody paying very close attention to the pitcher here in the first inning. Murphy on deck. He's in the 3-hole. Zimmerman to follow. And Jason Worth. Pretty easy take for him. 2-2. Old school dugout here. No railings. Got to be on your toes over there.
Yeah, but it's 400 yards away from home plate. They got plenty of time to react.
Pitchers love the room in foul territory here at the Coliseum. And Worth to right center. Ball dropping, and it's in for a hit. Jason coming off a 2-hit series against the Giants.
Well, he needed that. Hit the ball hard against the Giants with nothing to show. So that's how this game works, right? They say they all equal out. A lot of line drive outs on the other side of the bay. Maybe this side has some hits for Jason Worth. There goes the no-hitter. Little blooper to right. First knock of the night for the Nats.
Big ballpark with big gaps. Let's see a few fall in here. Strike call to Murphy. Daniel steps in. 7th in the league at 325.
Look at the foul ball room.
Yeah. If we were watching a football game, FP and I would be sitting right about the 50-yard line here. Football field goes straight from over to left to the right side. That's why Mount Davis, named after the late Raiders owner, sits out there in center field looking straight down on the football field. That thing is so big and it towers high above the rest of the ballpark.
I was going to draw the football field on the telestrator just now. They wouldn't let me. Lines and everything.
Wow.
Maybe that's why.
Well, look how hot Murphy is suddenly. 6 for his last 13. This place opened in 1964. And Murphy pulls a base hit through the right side. Jason Worth's going to stop as Matt Joyce charges the ball well. So the Nats have set the table for Ryan Zimmerman, who had a huge series across the bay.
Batting in the 4th position, first baseman, number 11, Ryan Zimmerman.
Who probably wants to get a base hit for his daughter Hayden. It's her first birthday today. Hopefully she's still up. So happy birthday, Hayden.
You know, 1-year-olds can be up any time of the day or the night.
Well, if they're on the baseball schedule, they're used to going to bed late.
Yeah.
Even if they're 1. Happy birthday, Hayden.
Cool. Nobody in that house goes to bed until Dad hits for the first time at least. Slow roll to right side, and Ryan's going to have to hustle. He's going to beat out the relay as they went Laurie to Pinder for the 4-6. Worth to third. 2 outs.
We told you about the defense for the A's. They made 3 errors yesterday in Cleveland.
Batting in the 5th position.
And 3 more plays they should have made. And this ground ball should have been a double play, but the feed was low from Jed Lowry to Chad Pinder, so they're not going to turn it when the feed's down here at your ankles. That's a tough feed. Look at Murph scrambling for the bag late. They could have called that a double play maybe. But at this level, that's usually a double play that's made.
Yeah. 55 errors, most in the major leagues. And the team with the second most, Atlanta, 15 fewer than the Athletics. Here's Adam Lind, 1-for-1 career against Triggs with an RBI. So he gets the DH assignment tonight. They're going to bunch him toward the gap in right center. That's a chopper. Shortstop side of second base. And that's handled by Chad Pinder, the shortstop. Steven Strasburg goes to work against the strikeout team, the A's. You by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. What a beautiful evening. Oracle Arena. Warriors took care of business last night against Cleveland, didn't they?
They did.
Big time.
KD was on fire. About half the team went. So a fun night for everybody on an off day in the Bay Area.
Chris Davis, we remember him from the Milwaukee Ball Club. Low batting average, but impressive power numbers. He's tied for second in the American League with 16 home runs. Yonder Alonso is sixth with 14. But the A's are an all-or-nothing team. They have struck out 493 times in 53 games. Only Tampa Bay at 577, striking out more.
Well, kind of a good start for Steven last time out against the Padres. 7 shutout, 15 strikeouts, 1 walk. It's the most in a game this year in the major leagues. But get this, a lot like Max's last start, Steven threw the fastball 43% of the time, the lowest he's thrown it all year long. And if you remember, it was all about the curveball. He threw it the highest percentage, 29. So we'll see. The A's 3 games ago struck out 19 times. Yesterday they struck out 17 times, and Steven struck out 15 his last start. Look out.
32-year-old Matt Joyce, the leadoff guy, breaking ball misses. Joyce, a .242 career hitter coming in parts of 8 years with the Tigers, Rays, Angels, and Pirates. He's at 188 right here. He's 0 for 3 career against Steven, who starts for the first time against Oakland, but he has faced 5 guys in their lineup tonight.
Gonna take the ball out of his glove, rub it up, little reset here.
Well, that's unusual. Walked him on 4 to start the game.
Nats defense behind Steven tonight. Here they come. Worth, Taylor, Goodwin, the outfield. Turner, Rendon, left side. Murphy, Zimmerman, right side. Matt Wieters behind the plate. Matt Wieters played a lot of games here as an Oriole. We can't get that kind of analysis anywhere else.
There's Darren alongside. Honorary bench coach for the series. Outside, 5 in a row.
That ball didn't work, getting a new one.
Chad Pinder, the shortstop. This guy's got some power. 7 homers, 14 RBIs. 25 years of age. He's a Richmond, Virginia guy. Went to Tech. That's ball 6.
Matt Wieters out there quick. Try to tighten up, Steven. Threw 108 pitches his last start, and 108 the start before that. Mike Maddox looking on. Steven stretching out a little bit.
Inside edge. Paul Emmel raising that right hand. Pinder, all ACC at Tech. Drafted by the A's in 13. Chopper right side. It's by the mound. Murphy there. Quick exchange for the first out.
Well, you remember the play in Philadelphia, it was just like that. Steven went for a slow roller to second, and that's when he cramped up. Same exact play as that right there. Stayed in the ball game another inning, I believe. Dusty, bench coach Darren. That's great, isn't it? Father, son at the yard in a major league dugout. I love it.
Is he too old to be a bat boy now?
Yep. He could be playing here someday.
Here's Jed Lowry, who's hitting .341 in this ballpark. Fastball up. Switch hitting infielder, 33 years of age, been around a long time. First year in the big leagues, a Red Sox back in 08. See that logo? We're at Rickey Henderson Field at the Oakland Coliseum. Fastball rides high. Now behind 2-0 again. Lowry 1 for 3 against Strasburg.
I used to come here as a kid and watch Ricky steal bases. This place would light up as soon as he got to first. Everybody get on their feet and root for him to steal second. Have you ever seen that before?
Ball pulled, fair ball. Ryan Zimmerman, a reach to his left, to the bag. So after the walk, Strasburg gets a couple of fairly quick ground ball outs. Now he'll face Chris Davis.
Batting in the 4th position, left fielder, number 2, Chris
Davis came over here from Milwaukee last year and hit 42 home runs. But he hit 247.
'68 strikeouts on the year already for Davis, and I'm told if you throw him sliders away, he has trouble getting to it.
Fastball, he hits it a mile high out to center. Michael A. Taylor waiting for it. All right, Strasburg, a good comeback after the 4-pitch walk. Anthony Rendon's in the number 6 spot. He is straight ahead.
Years now, back before he was even drafted, about the strong and loose wrists and hands that Anthony Rendon possesses. And I asked Dusty Baker earlier on today how strong wrists and hands benefit a hitter. He said every hitter wants to use their arms. They want to build up huge biceps. But Dusty was always taught that strong hands and wrists were most important. With strength in that area, he says you can manipulate the bat much better. You can get to balls other hitters can't. And Jock Jones told me that the hands and wrists that Rendon has allow for an easier swing, but one that can still generate a lot of power. He doesn't need to have a huge leg kick or really contort his body to try and get a lot of power into his swing. His hands and wrists allow him to flip that bat through the strike zone and still generate that power with an easy swing.
Yeah, it worked for Henry Aaron, didn't it? Thank you, Dan, with our Coons.com sideline report. When you're talking Cars, you're talking Coons. Anthony Rendon hitting .412 over his last 9 games. And that batting average starting to flirt with the 300 mark. That'll run under his hands. 4 homers, 9 RBIs attached to that 14 for 34 and 7 runs scored. Hit him anywhere, he doesn't care.
Just hit, baby.
And I didn't know this was a stat. There's Matt Wieters next. A stat that we might associate with Anthony Rendon. He's 9th in the league in walks.
You missed my Al Davis reference, but that's okay.
Line drive, and it's right at Jed Lowry. Calling all Cavaliers, join the Nats Saturday, June 24th. First of 7 college days at Nationals Park. We're to cover every big school around. With a special ticket, UVA students, alums, and fans get an outfield reserve ticket and a UVA Nationals co-branded New Era cap. There you go. Visit nationals.com/special tickets. There's one of the great Cavaliers of all time, Wahoo Wah, Ryan Zimmerman. June 24th. Here's Matt Wieters hitting .258 left-handed, .273 overall. 0 for 2 career against Andrew Triggs. Breaking ball coming right back in.
So weird that he has reverse splits. Righties hit .283 against Triggs, lefties .157. Usually when you have a crossfire guy like this stepping into the third base dugout, it's tougher for righties to hit him.
Yeah.
He does have the cutter he throws a lot, maybe in the lefties, and that's the difference, but shouldn't be a problem based on what you're seeing here. At least for lefties.
Yeah, that's a really unusual number.
Last year it was the opposite. Lefties hit .277 against them and just .235 for righties. I don't know.
Likes to pitch inside. He's hit 4 batters this year. That one tails right back out over the plate for his second strikeout.
But maybe it's because of that swing back fastball. When Tanner Roark has reverse splits, it's because of that pitch you just saw. Watch him start this right at Matt Wieters on the Mercedes-Benz pitch cast. 89, came back for strike 3. Good pitch. Lots of movement on that.
Wow. That was Levon-like. 89, not overpowering, but serious run. There's the number 8 hitter, Michael A. Taylor. Michael, 14 of his last 18 games hitting safely. 304 clip over that time. 3 hits, a walk, 2 walks actually in the San Francisco series with a couple of RBIs. By the way, the Giants, the first night they're not facing the Nats, they go to Philly and win 10-0. Hunter Pence may be back with them in a couple of days. Taylor got a breaking ball, hits it out to left center. How far? How far? It's over the 15-foot wall. See you later. Michael A. Taylor. Where that ball went out, it's about 380, and you have to hit him high to get him out of here. That's his 5th of the year.
I mean, every time he hits a home run, it's like he's embarrassed. Look at him. He comes back to the dugout with his sheepish grin on his face, like, I can't believe I just hit a home run. I'm sorry. Is it okay that I just hit a home run? Enjoy it, Michael A. That's a great swing.
Yeah,
there you go.
Full smile now.
There you go. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. Every time he hits one, going back to the dugout until he gets there, it's like, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed that I just went deep.
Here's Goodwin. Triggs gives up his 5th home run in 60 innings.
It's an endearing quality that I'm sure the fans love.
I mean, it's hard to hit a home run in this ballpark out in that area of left center or right center.
Well, it'll carry here, you know, haven't played here for a season until the sun goes down. Once the sun goes down completely, the ballpark will kind of change dynamics. The air will get heavy and it's hard to hit them. So right now's the time.
And Goodwin's going to roll a base hit to right field, his 6th hit in 25 at bats. So the bottom of the order with some welcome offense here.
Telling you, man, it's an emerging story. We're going to keep talking about it. Michael A. Taylor filling in for Adam Eaton. But he got a pretty good pitch, actually. Down and away, crossfire slider, stayed in there nice, barreled it up. Tough part of the park to go out. Jose takes his helmet off and a small party in the dugout. 1-0 Nats.
27th career homer for Michael A. So the Nats, the first time through the order, go 4 for 9 with hits from Worth, Murphy, Taylor, and Goodwin. And a line drive out by Rendon.
Big lead by Goodwin.
Trey shows bunt. Breaking ball ending up way outside. I like this. 2 outs. Speedy guy at first. Fast guy in the batter's box, and they're making some infielders move their feet.
Yeah, Triggs 1.3 to 1.45 to the plate, meaning you can steal on him. He's quick enough, he's slow enough to steal.
Turner shows bunt again, and that gets Trevor Plouffe running in from third as the count goes 2-0. So it looked like a pretty innocent inning. All of a sudden, Michael A exploded, and the Nats are on top, looking for more. Up the middle, nice big hop for Chad Pinder. Goes the short way, and Steven Strasburg will take the mound for the second time. This time with a lead. Look at Michael A go down and get that breaking ball.
Right fielder, number 8.
And StatCast the heck out of this thing. First, the pitch location. Not bad, right? Slider down the way. Just the long arms of Michael Taylor. Goes out and hooks it to left center. Barrels it up. StatCast brought to you by Amazon Web Services. What do we got? 102.5. 24.4 degrees on the launch angle. 415 feet. Michael A. Taylor, do it, baby.
Bottom of the second. Center fielders giving the Nats a lead here. Yonder Alonso, we remember him from his early days with the Reds and then San Diego. He's having a good year, and that is some kind of breaking ball to start him off. Alonso at 285, 6 in the American League, 14 homers, 31 batted in. Steven Strasburg, interesting first inning. 12 pitches, 4 strikes. He really went to work after that walk and that visit from Matt Wieters when he went 2-0 on the second hitter.
Might be getting used to the mound.
True.
And a lot of pitchers come in here with the big background, and it's weird, right? The backstop's way back there. A lot of foul ball space. You feel like you're pitching on an island. Maybe an adjustment period, so to speak.
High riding fastball there.
Yeah, he's never pitched here before, so you know, feel it out first inning. Now you're 0-2 to the first hitter in the second. It's weird playing infield here for the first time because the first baseman, when you pick him up on a grounder, looks like he's standing on an island with all the foul ball space behind him.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Strasburg turns over the change at his first K of the night.
Well, you get ahead, you use the weapons. First inning, he was battling to get in the strike zone. You get ahead 0-2, goes to 1-2, and then you throw the turbo change for strike 3, dirty.
Ryan Healy, the DH, is next. 25-year-old from West Hills, California. Went to the University of Oregon. 3rd round pick 4 years ago, and he's hitting .265. That's a high riding heater for a strike, even with that big A on their uniform. That ball is really coming out of his hand tonight. Wicked curve, second of the inning.
Wicked. Wow, watch this. Whoops.
It almost looked like Healy was going to take an emergency hack on 0-1. They go with the fastball down, and that's going to be in the gap. Until Goodwin goes to get it. Brian Goodwin, headlong dive, taking 2, maybe 3 away from Ryan Healy. He has been fantastic when spelling Bryce Harper or anybody else in the Nats outfield.
Right, from where we're sitting, this looked like it was going to the gap. It tailed back just enough with the effort of Brian Goodwin to make an unbelievable diving catch. What does Steven think? Yeah, baby, nice play. I think he's upset about the location of the pitch. He's saying, my bad, and he was bailed out by Brian Goodwin. What a play.
Yeah, I think Steven was thinking that was a bad 0-2 pitch. Thank you, my friend. Here's the catcher, Stephen Vogt. Nats, by the way, completely opposite of the A's defensively. Third best in the National League now.
Well, his name just reminded me of Stephen Vogt for Ryan Zimmerman for the All-Star team.
Sure.
There you go.
So doesn't matter how you spell vote as long as you do it.
Vote for Ryan. Do it right now if you're bored on a Friday night. And if you're loopy, keep voting.
High fly ball to right. Goodwin drifting just in front of the track. That ball kept on going. He caught it about 4 feet in front of the wall. So that was routine compared to what he did a moment before. Look at Goodwin diving right at you to take that one in.
As you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller time later in the ballgame. Brought to you by Miller Lite. I wonder why we're showing Brian Goodwin. That could be your Miller moment.
Fantastic catch. That guy is a big league outfielder. There is no doubt about it. So we go top third. Worth, Murphy, Zimmerman, 2-3-4 against Andrew Triggs. Jason Worth got things going with a flare to right center that fell in first time. Whole bunch of Net fans sitting on the first base side. Not too far from the dugout, some right up against it. Worth will get a running fastball that catches the inside edge. 33rd pitch, 22nd strike from Andrew Triggs.
Well, if you're a Nats fan and you went to the games in San Francisco at AT&T and came over here, you're probably thinking, but this place isn't that bad. It really isn't. The amenities, maybe for the players, aren't as nice, but it's a good place to watch a ball game.
I remember coming here 30 years ago in a previous life with Texas, and this place seemed so far away from home plate where we were. This is relatively close now.
Yeah.
And you're right, the sidelines are pretty good. It's not a bad place at all to watch a game. Worth will stretch and stay alive on that breaking ball. Ballpark used to be completely open in the outfield. Until they built that huge Mount Davis out there that got the football capacity up to 56,000. For baseball, they configure it. They don't open all sections of the ballpark. 35,000 and 67. Worth got a fastball, rides it to right, well hit, and to his left, Matt Joyce for the first down. Let's go inside some numbers, brought to you by Jeep. And if Dusty and the guys get it done tonight,
Number 20,
he will be at 1,800 for his career. And you might say, with the struggles of the Giants, gaining quickly on Bruce Bochy. 16th manager all time to make it to 1,800 when he does.
If he doesn't, it's going to be one heck of a story.
Ball hit a long way to right, and that one's over the wall from Daniel Murphy. The Nets clearing the 15-foot walls out there in both gaps like it's no big deal, and Murphy's into double figures.
It's a good night to hit here in Oakland. A warm day in the Bay Area. And the ball flying here early at the Oakland Coliseum. Daniel hits Murphy. Ambush on the first pitch. A little cutter that didn't cut. And if you could read lips, you saw what Andrew Triggs thought about it. And if you could read swings, you saw a home run. Daniel Murphy with his 10th of the year. Double digits for Murph.
Look out here. Ryan swung at the first pitch first time up, hit a ground ball for a fielder's choice. So Murphy now 10 homers and 37 RBIs. He's 1 RBI from being back in the top 10 in the league.
That was an interesting piece by Jorge, because in the post the other day, he was talking about the launch angle by Daniel Murphy and how he calls them 7%ers, that 7% of ground balls are extra base hits. So he sees one on the bench go down the line for a double and call it a 7%er. Tries to hit the ball in the air. So Jorge Castillo with a nice article in the Post on Daniel Murphy and the launch angles the other day in the Post. Nicely done. 7%ers.
Chris Heisey next to him. Target in. Zimmerman had to draw his hands in for that. And Trevor Plouffe will throw him out. 2 down. That'll bring in Adam Lind.
Now batting, number 26, Adam Lind.
They were playing him up the middle last time, and it was interesting. Chad Pinder had to go to his right to get a ground ball on the other side of second base. In there for a strike to Adam Lind, playing his 31st game of the year. Welcome to all of those who are watching the Orioles beat the Red Sox 3-2. Welcome to Oakland. Nationals lead the A's 2-0 on homers by Michael A. Taylor last inning, and Daniel Murphy here in the top of the third. Meanwhile, Steven Strasburg walked his first man, has retired 6 in a row, has the Nats continue this road trip, and it's been perfect so far.
I, for one, am glad the O's are taking it to the Sox after all that funny business that's been going on this year. Best way to get back at someone is to beat them.
And they leapfrogged him into second place in the AL East.
Good.
Right-hander Andrew Triggs has faced 13 batters, and the Nats have 5 hits already. Came in hard to hit, 231. And Adam Lynn's been looking the other way on a lot of these pitches. That one stays outside. Nationals, by the way, 79 homers now. Murphy makes it to double digits. Payoff pitch. And Lind will lift one to the right side. Yonder Alonso coming to get it. Nats will put on another run in the top of the 3rd inning with 1 out. Look at Daniel Murphy get his hands inside that one over the 15-foot wall. 2-0 Washington.
As we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, a couple solo homers. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers will donate $250 to the Children's National Health System for each of the first 200 home runs the Nats hit this season. Lexus, experience amazing.
Well done, Daniel Murphy, and back to work, Steven Strasburg. Trevor Plouffe, the 3rd baseman. Nats saw him last year when he was with Minnesota, hitting .260 for the season. A's signed him to a 1-year free agent deal mid-January. Facing Strasburg for the first time. Well, he's had that good breaking ball going tonight. Trey Turner to his left. 7 straight after the leadoff walk. It's all brought to you by AARP, getting to know Steven Strasburg just a little bit better. So look at his road starts. 22 of the last 26 decisions, which is so impressive. Gets out of the gate quickly, and he's pitched well. Small sample size, but pretty good against the AL West. Challenge fastball to the number 9 hitter, Rajai Davis.
That huge home run Raj hit in Game 7 of the World Series for the Indians last year.
Yeah. 5 hits, a homer, 3 stolen bases in that World Series against the Cubs when the Indians came up a little bit short. Then the A's signed him to a 1-year free agent deal. Been around a long time. Broke in with the Pirates in 06. And Rajai at just 203 right now. Two for 5 career against the Nats starter, who's trying to get his first time around unscathed against the A's here. Threw his first 6 pitches of the game out of the strike zone, and he has recovered big time. 6 contact outs, an amazing play by his right fielder, and 1 strikeout. That was the changeup down and into the right-hander.
Well, it was a good thing it wasn't strike 3. It rolled away. He's been throwing the curveball a lot 3-2 this year. Let's see if he goes to it right here against Raj Davis.
(3-2). Up and in, and he walked it. Join us in celebrating the 13th annual Night Out at Nationals Park. Tuesday, June 13th, Nats Braves. Show your pride with other area members of the LGBT community. A portion of ticket proceeds will benefit Team DC's scholarship fund. So that's another thing to look at when you log on to nationals.com/special tickets. Here's Matt Joyce, who walked to lead off the game. Rajai Davis, 7 steals in 11 attempts. 372 career stolen bases. He swiped 43 for the Indians last year.
It's a huge lead. Huge. I'm calling 14 feet on StatCast. It's a nice career, huh?
Just under 80%, yeah. He was with Oakland 08, 09, and 10. He stole 50 bases here in 2010 in 61 attempts. .116 bags in his 3 years as an Athletic.
Do you think Matt Joyce knows that he's 1 for 19 against the Nats career?
I'd be in denial myself. He'll lift this one high in the air to right center, and that ball is way up there to tie the game. He breaks up an 0 for 6 with that. 6th of the year, and that was a big fly. This game is tied.
Ball flying, and I mean flying. 424 feet from Matt Joyce's 6th of the year, and this is what the A's do. They walk a lot, they strike out a lot, and they hit a lot of homers. And that was a far one for the first hit of the night for the A's.
Yeah, they've hit 77. 4th most in the American League for a ball club that's hitting .234. Only Kansas City lower batting average and fewer runs than Oakland, but that's what they do right there. And Matt Joyce got all of that, baby. Here's Chad Pinder.
After that disaster of a game yesterday for the A's, they lost 8-0, made 3 errors, but 3 plays that should have been made on top of that. Bob Melvin had a meeting after the game. He said, basically, you guys are trying too hard, and you might even be working too hard. Just relax and let the game come to you.
2 Hopper, Trey Turner. 2 down here in the 3rd. Got to bring up Jed Lowry.
I think as a player, when you're scuffling as a ball club, you try so hard to get out of that scuffle, you make it even worse. And that's what was happening to his ball club.
Team batting average 234 coming in. Kansas City 231. As I mentioned earlier, 14th year overall, 7th with the A's. Former catcher, solid baseball guy. Bob Melvin played 10 years in the big leagues. Tigers, Giants, Orioles, Royals, Red Sox, Yankees, White Sox. A lot of teams wanted his services behind the plate.
It's a positive way to look at it.
Tapper and Strasburg to his left. That's it.
I always thought it was a lot of teams didn't want your services when we bounced around like that.
Hey, that's a good pension, baby. 10 years. Brought to you by the all-wheel drive RAV4. Toyota, what drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals.
The Atlantic Ocean and the Brooklyn Bridge. It's beautiful.
San Francisco, open your Golden Gate. Top of the 4th coming up here. We have insight. You know how to handle your finances with confidence. Brought to you by PNC Bank. For the achiever in you, we saw Wander Suero throw in spring training. We were impressed. Great ERA at Harrisburg. And he goes from AA to AAA today. Wander, well done, sir. 10 saves in 11 opportunities. A rising closer in the organization.
It's got a foul mouth, though, at times. Did you see what happened to our friend, Mr. Met? He got in all kinds of trouble. Obscene gesture the other day to a fan. Tighten it up, Mr. Met. Got fired.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a guy inside the suit until that whole thing happened. I thought it was just, you know, Mr. Met, Mrs. Met, and all the little creepy Met kids. There's actually someone inside the suit. Way to ruin it for me, Mr. Met. And he doesn't even, he only has 4 fingers, I should say.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even know how that was not humanly possible.
Well, at least we know our Eagle is authentic.
That's right.
Rendon, hard line drive to second first time up. That is a great take on a close pitch. 8 o'clock hour out here in Oakland. What an amazing night this is. 68 degrees at game time. Ball carrying. It won't about 45 minutes from now. 2-2 ball game. Every run driven in by homers. Rendon rifles one to the left field wall. It's going to hop a couple of times, be picked up by Chris Davis. Anthony Rendon has 4 home runs in interleague play this year, and he adds an extra base hit right there with his 12th double of the year to go with a triple and 9 home runs.
Tony Two Bags not shocked. Fastball up, drills it down the left field corner. Foot down early.
Now batting,
Such a
number
quick bat.
32, Matt Wieters.
I think the quickest hands on the team by far. So a leadoff double. Matt Wieters going to try to move him along or better here with nobody out in the 4th.
Well, Dan's timely report early in the ball game, talking about those hands and those wrists. A line drive and a double so far. Here's Matt Wieters trying to at least move him, and probably in there to try to drive him in.
It's a good report. Now you just got to stay out of the way of the cameraman down there. He'll be fine.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing problem here. We've been warned.
Yep.
Matt Wieters, 17 RBIs. Looking for his first career hit against Andrew Triggs. And he'll step off with his shortstop Pinder out of position. Be pretty tough to steal third with a left-handed batter in there. Maybe trying to keep him close in case there's a hit. Although they're playing Wieters deep, and Anthony can run.
Real deep. Raj Davis in center is as deep as any center fielder I've seen all year. Maybe because the ball's carrying.
Yeah,
them.
I was going to say let's see where they're playing 3 innings from now. That'll
Yeah.
be interesting to check it out later. And Wieters will pull it right field corner. No doubt about Rendon scoring, and Matt Wieters with an extra base hit. So he has 4 home runs and now 13 extra base hits on his 9th double. RBI number 18. The Nats back on top.
Nice answer to the
Now
ace
batting,
2 spot
number
in the
3,
bottom of the 3rd. Nats
Michael
top of the 4th
Taylor.
with back-to-back doubles. So double. And since we're in California animal style, Matt Wieters not only moves Anthony Rendon to 3rd, he moves him to home. Nice at bat. Now Michael A. Taylor going to try to do the same thing right here.
I get the In-N-Out Burger reference
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
Here's Taylor, long home run first time up. He's now hit safely, 15 of 19 games. Over 310 during that time. And of course, we're in the American League ballpark. No pitchers hitting tonight. Goodwin on deck in that 9 spot. Michael A gets the count in his favor. Remember, very early in the season, and Goodwin has a base hit already. The Nats are in New York, and we noticed that Michael A was choking up on the bat for control, and this resurgence of his kind of coincides with his differing approach at the plate from times past when he was all the way down on the knob and kind of swinging freely.
I say 3-0 green light right here. Let it rip.
Ball came back to the outer half.
Yeah, I think it was swinging.
That's about hit the A's 7-1. (31-22). They out hit the Giants across the bay. And there's that frisbee breaking ball that gets the inside half And the count goes full. Mercedes-Benz will pitch cast it.
But you can just tell by the take he's on it. I just think he was looking in a different zone, maybe away, and that backed up a little bit. But he's on time with his lower half, meaning all you got to do is fire off a swing on a decent pitch and should hit it hard. Got to get a good pitch.
And he'll take this ball to right field. Matt Wieters is tagging. Joyce the catch. Catcher heading for third. He'll make it easily. And a productive out for Michael A.
Nice at bat. Move the runner. Nicely done. How about some Geico highlights?
Number 8.
Brian Goodwin with an amazing play back in the second inning. Ryan Healy. So route efficiency 96.7. Good clean routes. And 38% of big leaguers make that play. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
Yeah, Smile might have saved a big inning right there. Infield in, Goodwin the hitter. So Brian trying to get the Nats their 2-run lead back. He's driven in 4 runs on his 6 hits. Playing in his 14th game at the big league level this year. Yeah, you don't want that.
Infield in. I don't know that the A's have to be this far in. You see how shallow they are? Matt Wieters and his speed should dictate that those guys can play 2-3 steps further back.
Yeah, and your point being they could have a better chance of cutting off a ground ball in between them.
Well, you increase your range in infield in based on the speed of the runner at third. So if you have a fast runner, toes on the grass, right? Because you got to cut him down at the plate. If you have a slower runner, you can take 2, 3, even 4 steps back and play behind the baseline. And based on your arm strength, still get the runner out at home and increase your range at the same time. Playing way too shallow.
1-2 pitch. And Goodwin, a swing and a miss on a ball in the dirt. That's a big pitch for Andrew Triggs. His 3rd strikeout, 2 down.
Now batting.
Next
7,
up, Trey Turner.
Trey Turner.
This is where, in my mind, the bunt is a tremendous weapon. 2 down, lay 1 down, beat it out, and it's a run.
Yeah, Plouffe is back at third. If you drew the baseline from second to third, he'd be about 7 or 8 feet behind that. He stepped forward now in between pitches, but he was a lot further back a moment ago. There he goes.
Yeah, drop 1 down toward third. It's 4-2.
Count in Trey's favor, 2-0. Five hits, 2 steals in San Francisco. After seeing 2 pitches away, that one gets the inside. Trey's driven in 23 runs. Up the middle. That's a hit. Even if Lowry had gloved it cleanly, doubtfully would have thrown out Turner. And the Nats get their 2-run lead back, 4-2.
Well, that'll work right up the middle. And Jed Lowry beating himself up, but if he gloves that, put it in your pocket. Trey Turner's just too fast. See how they score it.
Number 28.
I think it's a hit. They scored a hit. And now Trey Turner 1 for 3 with an RBI and puts his club up by 2. Nice at bat.
3 more hits in this inning. And the Nats have 8 with 2 outs in the 4th. Triggs has not been this hittable lately. Worth's had 2 good at bats, a flare that fell in, then a line drive to right for an out. Trey Turner, 13 out of 15, 4th most steals in the National League behind Billy Hamilton, Dee Gordon, and Cincinnati's Jose Peraza.
Throw over. Jason Worth just kind of looked disgusted, like, are you going to pitch to me or what?
Well, that's going to go way back to the backstop. Another runner in scoring position.
390 feet. That ball just took off on Stephen Vogt for Ryan Zimmerman. You see the sinker right here just taking off. Look at that. Jason waving him a second. Did you see that? Go.
They might be debating wild pitch or pass ball there. We'll see. Wild pitch.
So watch Jason. Sees the wild pitch. Hey, Trey, go. Be a good third base coach someday.
Front door on the breaking ball. It stayed inside. 2-1 to Jason Worth.
So out of the stretch, which he's been all night, Triggs can get into where he drifts toward home plate and kind of falls off the mound. And when he does that, his arm trails and that slider will back up, and that's when he gets into trouble. When he stays back over the rubber and keeps his head still, he gets that slider out in front and you get the frisbee action. But right now he's drifting a little bit. Watch. Kind of falling down the mound and his arm is trailing.
3-2. Guy who hit a homer off him last time is next. So Jason Worth should get something good to hit right here. That's up in the zone. Didn't want any part of that on 3-1. So here we go.
Should get something to hit based on that guy's on deck.
Turner running. And Trey Turner's going to get a stolen base for going to third with 2 outs.
For every Nats walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support Girls on the Run DC. The Nats have 189 walks for a total of $9,450 million. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Right man, the right spot. Nice at bat by Jason Worth, and here comes hits.
Oakland bullpen about to get busy here, and it's early. You have a couple of familiar names out there. John Axford, and Nats know him from Milwaukee. Ryan Madsen, a former Philly, he's their 8th inning guy. And former Giant Santiago Casilla. That is Frankie Montas.
So if you missed it, maybe you're just getting home on a Friday night. Here's what Hits did last time up.
Ryan.
His 10th home run of the year, double digits on a cement mixer from Andrew Triggs. Slider didn't slide. Slider went over the fence, and Murph squared it up.
And with Trevor Plouffe playing about 15 to 20 feet off the third base bag, Trey Turner can get a good lead down the line and be eyeballing anything in the dirt here.
You got an open base if you're Triggs. It's second. You put another run in scoring position. But you know, Ryan Zimmerman on deck, I don't know how confident you are in getting him out.
For 2 Nats. Trying to put a big number on the board here in the 4th. Murphy up the middle with an RBI hit right off the mound. Worth will stop at second. And the Nats have delivered 3 consecutive base runners with 2 down. It's now a 5-2 game, and Murphy has 38 runs batted in on a 3-for-3 tonight.
Well, give Jason Worth a lot of credit for moving the line to Daniel Murphy, who's having a big night. 3 hits, took some tough pitches, fouled some off. So yeah, it was a walk, and you're saying big deal. Well, it got that guy up to the plate to make it a 5-2 game. So the hits keep coming for Daniel Murphy, and the line is moving with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Ryan Zimmerman, bouncer to second, bouncer to third. He went up first pitch swinging his first time. Second time up, he took a fastball right down the middle, and Andrew Triggs is done. Bob Melvin got his bullpen working after the walk to Worth, and 1 batter later, his starter is done after 3 2/3. And being very hittable, I might add, giving up 9 hits to the great swinging Nats already. If you need expert printing, the UPS store has you covered. Together, there's nothing we can't solve. Frankie Montas on his way. Has been building since the early innings. What the Nats did against Andrew Triggs tonight. 9 hits in 3 2/3. Here's Frankie Montas, 24-year-old from the Dominican, and he's making his 19th appearance. Numbers aren't great.
Well, he can light up a radar gun. His fastball averages 97.7 miles an hour. Slider change to go with it.
No national has ever faced him before. Getting close to twilight time here. So the off speed and the count to 2-0. Jason Worth, the 2-out walk after the Turner RBI, and then Murphy, an RBI single of his own. He's getting a huge lead at first. Run back action on the heater, 2-1.
Well, Daniel can go as far as the first baseman is, so they're in a shift. He can get way off there. Doesn't have to worry about getting doubled up with 2 outs. Remember, all the way back to Wednesday before the off day, this is Ryan Zimmerman with home run number 15. Just kind of muscled that one out of there. Didn't have the big sound, but it's a home run. Counts just the same. I think it was 372 feet, if I remember right.
2 homers, 5 RBIs in that series. That brought in Turner and Murphy, who were on base. And then Max Scherzer made it stand up in a 3-1 win. 2-2 pitch here.
You know, a lot of people asking me, well, what's different from this year? We always say, well, Ryan's healthy, number one. Standing off the plate, maybe a little more, and more aggressive. You remember Ryan used to take first pitches all the time and walked a lot, and this year he's hacking, trying to do damage.
Goes down and gets that one and drops it into center field. It's another 2-out RBI. Worth scoring. Murphy to third. Ryan Zimmerman, RBI number 45. 6-2 Nats.
A little 2-out lightning from your Washington Nationals. You know what's coming. Bat that a hero. 2-out knock. Jason Worth with a nice lead. We already talked about Daniel Murphy's lead at first, so he cruises into third easily. And a base hit for the birthday girl, Hayden. 1 for 3 with an RBI. Nicely done.
Yeah, not midnight yet. So
she's still out.
9th man to bat in the inning is Adam Lind. Shift on. I'll tell you, they got Jed Lowry as far out into right field as you'll see on a shift. It's a good 50 feet or more out there.
Whoa. Most second basemen don't have the arm strength to throw it that far. That's why they're not playing short and playing second.
So 5 hits and a walk in the inning. 4 batters in a row reaching with 2 outs.
Meanwhile, Steven Strasburg's been sitting on the bench for 45 minutes, it seems like.
Yeah, no worries about batting gloves or hacking tonight. It's all about doing his thing. 1 hit, 2 runs through 3 innings. Murphy coming well down the line at third. Lynn takes the fastball away. And now he has a hitter's count 3-1. Anthony Rendon started this with that double left field line.
That Bat Boy's beard. Are you kidding me? That's a Batman.
Too old to be a Bat Boy with that.
That guy doesn't need a fake ID.
Lynn takes the walk and the bases are loaded. Inside the numbers, brought to you by Jeep. The Nats offense in all of baseball, 2nd in batting average. Yeah, there's one team out there with a higher batting average than them. Hard to believe. Nats came in at 275. First in just about everything else.
But we talked about it early. This is what they do against pitchers they never faced before. Recon mission first time up. And then second time up, go to work. And third time up, look out.
That team, by the way, Houston at 277. So here's Rendon.
Looking to bust this one open right here, right now.
Right-hander Zach Neal. They brought in Montas, and he hasn't retired a hitter yet. Starter Triggs responsible for Murphy at third. Target in. He missed on the other side. as far as his target, but he got a strike with it. 1-2.
2 outs, 2 strikes. Ryan Zimmerman can get a nice jump off second base here. Anthony Rendon puts it in play.
Murphy the base hit. Zimmerman a hit. Lind the walk. And Rendon will take it outside. One good at bat after another.
With 2 outs.
Three and two.
Best play in baseball coming. Start your engines. Crank them up. If you're Daniel Murphy, get real wide at third base. You don't want to eat a line drive, so to speak. I always hated being on third in this play. There's no real rush.
Payoff pitch. And Rendon to right. Moving to his left, Matt Joyce. He'll cruise to it and get it. And for the A's, the inning finally over. But the Nats put 4 on the board and have a 4-run lead.
Now batting, number 3.
This team can hit. 4 innings, 6 runs on 10 hits. Steven Strasburg back to work now with his biggest lead of the night. He'll face 4, 5, 6. Davis, that's Chris Davis, Alonso, and Healy. 37 pitches, 23 strikes. And he got Chris Davis on a fly ball to center, first time up. Nice to get that first one in there after he'd been sitting down for a long time. .96 with an easy delivery, boring in on the right-hander. Gives him the hook. Definitely into the twilight period here. 8:30 local. I noticed this on that run by Matt Joyce a moment ago. This ballpark has some shadows in each corner, and then straightaway center field doesn't look like it's very well lit out there. Kind of a different configuration on this yard. So it's an interesting time of the evening for some outfielders.
Yeah, this is that time for about 10 minutes when you're praying the ball isn't hit to you. Talked about the other night when Jason Worth lost that one in San Francisco.
There's a story behind that Holy Toledo, by the way, that you saw on the wall out there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. This year, the Ford Frick Award winner is the late, great Mr. King. Bill King, longtime voice of the Athletics, his signature call, and he's going to have a plaque in Cooperstown come this late July.
Well deserved.
Yep.
Did Raiders, Warriors, and A's.
Yeah, one of the giants of our business, really.
I thought he was best at basketball. He used to say in and out heartbreak on a ball that rimmed out. Great voice for the Raiders for so many years. And the A's, of course.
And I've heard people crow about his football work, too.
Yep.
Well, pretty good at bat here by a home run hitter who strikes out a lot. Chris Davis is staying alive. Fifth most strikeouts in the American League. And he gets a big piece of that one out to center. Taylor watching it, and in the shadows out there, pulling it in. 45 minutes ago, that's a home run.
I'm telling you, this ballpark plays different once the sun goes down. It's warm, the air's thin, the ball flies. Sun goes down, it goes nowhere. It's always been like that. It always will be. And Davis, as soon as he hit this, I thought it was gone. Then I looked up and realized it's dark out. And once it's dark out, the ball goes nowhere. And how about that? You're just talking about the shadows in center. Michael A. Taylor has to go into the shadows, which you never see at a major league park, to make the play.
Long, loud out. Yonder Alonso is next. This is interesting. Stevens in his 14th inning, fourth inning of work tonight, coming off that great outing last time. Alonso is the only man he has struck out. Alonso to the right field wall, and that's going to carry him. Taylor picks it up, throws into second. And the A's have their second hit of the night.
I'll tell you, that ball was hit better than Matt Joyce's home run earlier. And Yonder Alonso settled for his 8th double of the year. I mean, when you're up 6-2, that's a good thing. So throw strikes, let the ballpark play big. Fastball down the middle, and you saw Matt Wieder's reaction. Watch his glove. He thought that was gone. And then he just remembered that when it gets dark, the ball doesn't go here. And just a double for Alonso. Good backup by Michael A. Taylor, playing that off the wall.
Runner at second, 1 out. Ryan Healy, and he's the guy on an 0-2 pitch who was robbed by Goodwin of that extra base hit. First time up 2 innings ago.
I mean, we can feel it in the booth right now, the temperature change.
Yeah, it's gone down 8 to 10 degrees since we called that first pitch to Trey Turner at 7:07 local. 1 hour and 27 minutes ago. That one chasing the hitter way inside on the changeup. Strasburg 2-0, reaching the 50 pitch mark here in the 4th. That one going the other way, and Goodwin drifting with it. He's got a great arm. 3 outfield assists in limited playing time already. He hit Turner, the cutoff man. 2 outs. Inside the numbers. Presented by Jeep. Leading by 10, the Nats entered the day. So in the National League, earliest date all time. Unbelievable. May 6th by the Dodgers back in '77. And the Nats not that far behind.
Wow.
Yeah, Mets have lost 10.5 now.
Mets blew a big lead tonight. They were up 7-4. They lost 10-7. 12-7.
Their pitching numbers have just skyrocketed. Here's the catcher, Stephen Vogt. Ouch. Phillies have lost 5 in a row, with the Giants beating them tonight. Braves lose 3-2 at Cincinnati. Marlins won their game. Matt Wieters gets a redirect right into his mask. And the count goes to 1-2 here with 2 outs in the 4th. Got him on the changeup. Steven Strasburg, 2 Ks tonight in 4 innings, and that's just fine. So nighttime approaching here in Oakland. That's offense shining brightly.
Seen it a couple times this season where Michael A. Taylor has gone down to get a pitch low below the zone to the point that his back knee has almost skimmed the dirt in the batter's box. And I talked with Michael about that a couple days ago. He said he never really noticed that he did that until a teammate in the minors back in 2012 pointed it out to him. He said, "Look at your pants, man. You got dirt on your knee." Michael said he doesn't really consider himself a low ball hitter, even though he does have the ability to drive that pitch. He said he just hasn't been getting to the high pitch as well as he used to. He's trying to work on that lately to kind of extend that zone up. But he does have the ability to go down with those long arms and drive a pitch. He said, "Guys, it's good. I haven't fallen over yet when going to drop to a knee." Big strike zone for Michael A.
Yeah, he's doing great. Fantastic adjustment lately. And when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Dan with our Coons.com sideline report. Zach Neal, 28-year-old right-hander, takes over here against Matt Wieters, who's 0 for 2 against him.
Zach, fastball, slider, curveball change, 4 pitches. See the fastball right there. Averages 90, throws it 60% of the time. A lot of two-seam sink to it.
Wieters 1 for 2. Big double after the Rendon leadoff double last inning. A lot of play left side. Neal originally drafted by the Florida Marlins back in 10. Released 4 years ago. A's signed him as a free agent. And he'll paint the outside corner for a strikeout there.
That's the one Matt Wieters didn't like, but since he's up 6-2, he's not going to complain too much. Doesn't want to wake anybody up. So here's Michael A's home run in the second inning. Maybe we'll show you what Dan's talking about with the back knee. Almost hit the ground. Close, sort of.
9, right fielder.
That ball's not going if he hits the same ball right now. It's off the wall. I'm telling you.
That is some damage for a foul over the Nats dugout. Zach Neal from South Carolina pitched collegiately at Oklahoma. Slider, and Michael A had a good rip at that.
I feel our first foul ball coming on this series in the booth.
I see you taking a jab step on everything that's hit back. May probably have to be a left-handed batter for us, though. We're just to the left of our camera shot there, and probably have to be a lefty to get one over here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Call him up. They want the fastball up, and that's way upstairs.
Well, that's going to set up a slider away. At least that's what you think of as a hitter. That was just to get him off the slider on the other side of the plate here in a 1-2 count.
Top 5, the Nats on top 6-2.
Or come back in.
They'll double up here. And Taylor, who got jammed, a bouncer to Chad Pinder, 2 outs.
All right, Pups in the Park presented by Budweiser is back on Saturday, June 10th. Nats take on the Rangers, 12:05. Pup tickets benefit the Humane Rescue Alliance, not the human, like I said last time. Although Human Rescue Alliance would be good too. Tickets to all Pups in the Park through 2017 season are available now at nationals.com/special ticket. Bring your dog to the yard and I will tell you what kind of dog you have. I see red, people.
A lot of them over by the Nats dugout having a good time on a cooling off Friday night here. Brian Goodwin can do no wrong tonight. That's a couple of bouncers perfectly placed on the right side of the infield for base hits. And then Matt Joyce decided to throw in behind him, and Yonder Alonso missed it on the hop. That's why catchers back up.
Now batting, number 7, Trey Turner.
I missed it. I was marking my scorecard, so I'll see it with you guys for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, first baseman's got to be there, number 1. And good backup, number 2.
And 2 for 3 for Goodwin. Top of the order, Trey Turner, a big hit last time. The Nationals had 1 run in the 4th inning before Trey Turner added another run, which resulted in 2 more to follow.
I like the stolen base attempt here, up by 4. If you get thrown out, so what? Got Trey Turner leading off the 6th.
Yeah, Goodwin 1 for 1. Pretty good lead. Holding. Inside. Turner a check swing. Look out, Davey Lopes. A lot of room here for coaches to get out of the way.
There's Danny Espinosa on deck with Jason Worth. Got traded back today, in case you're just joining us.
Did that kid shave this morning?
I couldn't even get through.
Just killing yourself, aren't you?
It looks just like him. That kid's really 13 years old. Can you imagine?
One and two to Trey. And he'll reach out and hit one to fairly deep center. Rajai Davis. And that's it for the Nats. They've only been held scoreless in 2 innings tonight. Halfway through, it's 6-2 Washington.
To you by Dominion National, providing innovative high-value dental and vision benefits to area employers and individuals. Smile! It's Friday, and you're 14 games over 500. You're 10 games up in the division on June 2nd. Smile.
And you haven't lost on the road trip yet. Good position for this one tonight. Long way to go. Plouffe, Rajai Davis, and Joyce here, bottom 5. Steven Strasburg in 4 innings, 55 pitches, 35 strikes. First pitch slider, it looked like, and a long run for Goodwin. He's going to catch that ball near the mound, actually the home plate area of the bullpen. Foul ball, 1 out.
RBI Baseball 2017 returns with fast pace, pick up and play MLB action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, and ballparks. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Learn more at rbigame.com. There's a video game on the left.
Amazing what he did Wednesday night. 100 pitches, complete game.
Saw he and his wife Erica in the hotel lobby yesterday, all geared up with their Warriors stuff on, going to the game. Big Warriors fans, obviously. They play again Sunday right when we're playing. That'll be fun. Getting out of here.
Well, the big question is which venue will have more people. A's are averaging 16,691, second worst in baseball to Tampa Bay, and I'm sure the arena behind us seats more than that.
Oh, he was so good on Wednesday. Was a fly ball scene away from a 3-hit shutout, basically.
This high fly ball to the gap in right center. Important for the center fielder to be assertive this time of the night. 2 outs.
I mean, how good was Max's day off yesterday? Well, because of his day on Wednesday. Went to work, brought the hard hat, the lunch pail, the snarl, the stalking, the fastball. More importantly was his pitch. Yeah, he had the slider and change, but his heater was on point, and so was Max Scherzer. Yeah. 100 pitches, 79 of those were strikes. 11 punch outs. And a bueno off day watching his Warriors drub the Cavaliers.
Did not walk a batter. Top of the order, Matt Joyce, and Strasburg frozen in time for a moment, thinking he had strike one. There's a changeup, 2-0. Matt Joyce, a walk in the first, 2-run homer. Quite a shot in the third. The ball's about 25 feet off the ground when it landed out there in the mezzanine. 3-0. .98 upstairs, unhittable.
So many advantages to pitching out of the stretch that you might not have thought of in spring training when we were scratching our heads going, well, why is he pitching out of the stretch? I mean, you can quick pitch. You don't have to come set without anybody on. You can really disrupt the hitter's timing if you're Steven Strasburg, and we've seen it all year.
Got inside on Joyce, who did a good job to foul it off. Missed, and he has walked 3 batters. Joyce 2 of those. A's have a base runner here in the 5th. Let's check in with more on Dusty, trying to win his 1800th career game tonight. Only 15 previous managers have done that, so 840 with the Giants, 300 plus Cubs, 500 plus Reds, and looking for number 129 with the Nats right here.
3-time NL Manager of the Year. Maybe 4 coming, who knows? And I think, I mean, gets that ring, he's a lock for the Hall of Fame in my mind. Might be already. But the ring would clinch it.
Yeah, if you've done something only 15 other men in that position in the game have done,
yeah,
that's not Hall worthy. Don't know what is.
I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit for being a good in-game manager and pushing all the right buttons. He's great with players. I had the privilege of playing for him in '99. Just let you know where you stand when you're playing, when you have a day off. Great communicator, gets tons of credit for that. That's great, but the way he runs a ball game now, and then getting Danny Espinosa back in the background, that was a good move too. He's the best, and it's an honor and a privilege to be around him on a daily basis now in a different capacity. I mean, I sit in his office every day, and the last thing we talk about is baseball.
Three and one. Two quick outs, then a walk, and a swing and a miss. Now it's back to a full count, with Chad Pinder, and Matt Joyce will be about to take off at first.
I'll tell you what, you throw 97 by a big league hitter in a 3-1 count, there's no real need to throw anything else. But you can also throw a 3-2 slider, which is what they're going to do.
And he's going to miss with it and get a swing anyway. Strasburg, third K of the night, 5 very strong innings. And his guys are giving him run support to make things like this happen.
The top of the 6, 6-2 Nats. Daniel Murphy, we could put that up there every night, I feel like, 3 for 3. Steven Strasburg pitching to contact tonight. You thought he was going to have a big strikeout night, but so what? He's doing his job. And Michael A getting her done again.
Top of the 6, Worth, Murphy, Zimmerman. These guys are up for the 4th time already. 14 pitches, 11 strikes. Last inning for Zach Neal.
Did you see the race between innings? They called it the Big Three. It was Zito, Hudson, and Mulder on the video board.
I saw it.
And they race.
Cameos by Ricky Henderson, Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, Tim Hudson, others.
Yeah, it was strange.
They were stepping through time warps and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. Tim Hudson eventually won, but you talk about rolling 3 pitchers out 3 nights in a row and you knew you were going to win playing behind those guys. Zito, Mulder, and Hudson in their prime were as good as any 3 I've ever seen.
They even went back to the Philadelphia Athletics and pulled out Jimmy Fox.
You know, this lineup too, and I've mentioned it a few times this year, reminds me of that 2001 A's team with, you know, so deep. Johnny Damon leading off, Jermaine Dye hitting 4th, Jason Giambi hitting 3rd, Tejada, Chavez. I mean, that was a good baseball team, and this ball club right here reminds me a lot of it.
2-2.
102 and 60. And then Derek Jeter did that whole thing right out in front of me, and that was that.
We can get you help.
Need help.
Worth will ram one to left on a breaking ball that was sitting up, and that is a home run, I believe it is. There's a yellow line right above the out-of-town scores, a little ledge there, and right where relationships matter, so did the fly ball. It's a homer. Jason Worth, his 8th of the year.
Now batting, number 20, Daniel Murphy.
A little salute from Wilmer Defoe to Jason Worth. 8th home run of the year. 2 for 3 with a walk and a hard line out to right. Jason Worth having a good night for the Nats once again.
The Nationals have now hit 80 home runs in 52.5 games. Worth will be the next one to double digits. He's got 8 now. Murphy will pull one right side. Yonder Alonso to the bag for the first out, top 6.
Well, the relationship that mattered right here was ball and bat. It was a quick and torrid one on a hanging slider that Jason Worth crushed to left field. The low line drive, probably the only thing that gets out of here right now, to be honest with you.
Right above Cleveland there is that yellow line. Anything above that that hits the flat surface, out of here. Here's Zimmerman. Ryan 1 for 3 with an RBI. He got a slider and he was pumping.
.38 going on his number. There's the ball right there. Get him the baseball. It's a relationship that we need to continue.
227th career homer for Jason Worth. Can't forget his acting like a little kid, hopeful that Santa was going to give him his 200th home run ball when it got stuck out in that crazy left center area in Miami.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
So the Nats box up and down. Adam Lind doesn't have a hit, but he's been on base. Everybody chipping in with line drives tonight. Seven to 2. That's outside. So happy Saturday to you back home, everybody. BCFP, DK. Friday night. And the Nats by 5, trying to make it a 4-0 road trip. Zimmerman pops it up right side. Do I even need to bother to tell you? A lot of room here. That's in the coach's box. Yonder Alonso catches it, 2 down. Next up, Adam Lind.
Yeah, late night Nats. Sleep when you're dead. Friday night. 7 to 2.
Number 26.
Boys swinging the bats. Hits happen.
Lind.
I think you should get an honorary marketing degree from University of Maryland University College, throwing out all these slogans.
I like hits happen. We need to get a t-shirt made. And everybody at that college just threw up a little bit in their mouth that you said that about me.
Be one of their most famous alums.
Oh,
just like that.
Infamous. Yeah, the guy that can't talk right. Colonel needs to check in here. He's had some good hacks tonight.
Yeah, A's have seen him several times over the years in the American League intra-league action. And it seems to me the scouting report away to Adam Lind. Even though they play him in a shift.
And he can hit it that way too. We've seen him hit the ball hard to left.
Up the middle. That's the shortstop, Chad Pinder. So 3 in a row, but Worth started the inning with a long one to left. Jason Worth now driven in 18 runs, up on the shelf. Yeah, it matters. 7-2 Nats. Limited baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. DFA for Sam Dyson. That's really something because he saved 38 games for them last year. 10.80 ERA. 7 hitters struck out. That's it. Mets still struggling. Now they've lost 14 of their last 21. They had gone 8-11 to get respectable before that. And now only Randy Johnson, the quickest to 2,000 strikeouts, ahead of the Dodger Clayton Kershaw, who pitched today. We could have a Strasburg-Kershaw matchup at Dodger Stadium next Wednesday.
Now, don't jinx it. We almost had one last year.
Strasburg back to work. Jed Lowry. Couple of ground ball outs. Good breaking ball and a line drive. Murphy drops it. Still got time. Not now. Daniel was there. It'll be his 5th error of the year.
Stayed with it nice. Thought he had a chance because Lowry quit running for a second. He tried to recover. Couldn't believe he dropped it.
Only the Nats' 28th error of the year. 3rd fewest in the league. Chris Davis now.
That little sign you saw Daniel Murphy giving, the hang loose sign, that means he has Steven Strasburg on a comebacker. So ball hit to Steven. The second baseman's covered on a double play, not the shortstop like you usually see.
A's box. Joyce walk in the 1st. Rajay Davis walked 1 out 3rd inning. Then Joyce hit a 2-run homer. Double by Alonso. No sweat in the 4th. And then the walk to Joyce. 2 outs last inning. Base runners few and far between for the A's tonight. Steven came into this inning with 72 pitches. .43 strikes. Starters have been doing this a lot lately, haven't they? Quick innings. Pitching deep. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. So the starters since May 21st. And that's when the Nats were at Atlanta. 206. Over 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. Relievers have prospered. And only 1 save dropped during that time. Did he go? He did. Home plate umpire Paul Emmel punches out Chris Davis. Strasburg's 4th strikeout, 1 out, 6th inning.
You know, there's 79 pitches for Steven right now. As you look at the strikeout one more time.
17, Yonder Alonso.
So pitch number 80 coming. Davis with some snappage at the end. The point I'm getting at is last 3 starts, Steven, 108, 118, and 108. This would be a great night for a little 6 and dive. You know, no heroes in June. Just, you know, big pitcher kind of take right here. Got a 5-run lead. If your bullpen can't hold a 5-run lead, then, you know, that's obviously not a good thing. But, you know, how about a little like 85, 88 pitch effort tonight? Kind of recharge, if you know what I mean. Let those guys do some work.
As we mentioned, if everything stays on schedule, another start for Steven on this trip. And by the way, I'm thinking about that next Wednesday thing. Whoever pitches, it's a rare weekday game at Dodger Stadium. May not be a whole lot of fun for some hitters. Not a late afternoon game, but day baseball still different than under the lights where everything's kind of neutral.
And Bryce will be back. be back Sunday here against the A's.
Yeah, it'll be good to get some swings in here.
Is there any A's pitchers that he might have ticked off when he was like 12 or 13 that we need to know about?
Not aware of any history between him and Daniel Mengden, who's never faced the Nats, and then Sonny Gray, their guy. I was just wondering if Michael A. Taylor ever hits one off Hunter Strickland. Hunter going to stare him down around the bases while Mike is trying not to smile sheepishly.
I thought Ryan had the best quote. He goes, "I don't charge pitchers when they strike me out."
Leave it to Zimmerman for fantastic perspective.
I mean, exactly right. It's all Bryce did was hit a home run.
Yeah.
Strickland stalked him around the bases, and then Bryce hit a big one in Game 4 to keep his ball club alive. And he peeked in. So what? And then popped off a little in the dugout. So what? That whole thing was tired, and I'm not changing my take, and I don't blame Bryce one bit.
Two balls, two strikes to Alonso.
Ooh. Holy smokes. There's Raleigh Fingers, whose head has grown enormously since he played. Ricky Henderson. And Dennis Eckersley.
How authentic are those?
That girl's terrified if she turns around.
Changeup, nasty. Suddenly, Steven Strasburg's last 3 outs are swinging strikeouts. Mercedes-Benz pitch cast.
Well, I mean, in years past, I have to be perfectly honest, a drop line drive behind Steven Strasburg might have led to a couple of runs, but the new and improved and relaxed and confident, mature, whatever you want to throw out there, Steven Strasburg, looked at Daniel Murphy and basically said, "I got you."
Yeah.
And what does he do? He gets right back in the strike zone and strikes out a couple of guys. Just a whole different demeanor, relaxation, confidence, body language, stuff, everything, total package. It's fun to watch. It's picking them up. That's what good pitchers do. That's what we've talked about for 5 years. When something goes bad behind you, what do? The great ones pick you up because they know you're going to pick them up more times than not.
Senzatella of Colorado, Kershaw of the Dodgers, Greinke of the D-backs. The other pitchers in the National League with 7 wins. Strasburg trying to join that tonight. Healy has gone the other way twice. Now, 1 strike to get through 6 innings for the 10th time this year. Strasburg has gone 7 times, with one of those being 7 2/3 2 starts ago at Atlanta. Remember, that was a big game for the Nats. They salvaged the final game of that series when the Braves were looking for a sweep, and now, including that game, the Nats have won 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Strikeout number 6. After the dropped line drive, he strikes out the next 3. To the 7th we go. Pitching, timely hitting. Washington Nationals baseball. Enjoy it. This will be fun. June 2nd, 1995, a VW day in Major League history. Kid out of San Mateo, California, Sarah High School. Standout Tom Brady, picked in the 18th round, 507th player selected overall. He went to Michigan instead. And by the way, ironically, that year the #1 pick, another football player, Darren Erstad, who did some kicking at Nebraska and was drafted first by the Angels. But there's more to this story.
There they are, the old clown unis. So John Hughes, the scout that drafted Tom Brady, brought him to Candlestick Park when I was at Montreal Expo and said, hey, I got an 18-year-old kid who's a freshman at Michigan. He plays quarterback, but he's going to hit with you guys in your group today. So Tom Brady hits in our group, tall, skinny kid, gets in the clubhouse. The idea of the trip was to get him to sign with the Expos. So we get him in the clubhouse after BP. We all start talking to him. He tells us he's a quarterback at Michigan, and we tell him, don't sign professionally. Go to Michigan and play football. We were all a bunch of frustrated high school football stars. And we said, do you really want to sit on a bus for 9 hours and make $700 a month? Or do you want to play quarterback at Michigan? This is a no-brainer. So while John Hughes thought we were going to recruit him to sign, we actually made him play football.
There's Rendon with a line drive to left, tracked and caught by Chris Davis.
So I take full credit for Tom Brady's football success.
7 Super Bowl,
Now batting,
5
number
wins.
32,
I think he made the right call.
Wieters.
Could he hit?
I didn't know that.
Do you remember anything
Yeah,
about him?
he hit
in the
home runs
cage?
in batting practice. He had a
Okay.
great swing. He was a catcher at Sarah High School in San Mateo, the same school that Barry Bonds went to. And I didn't even know that was Tom Brady until a reporter called me after his 2nd Super Bowl and said, hey, we heard that you escorted Tom Brady around Candlestick Park one day. And I said, that was Tom Brady? I forget all about it. And then it all kind of clicked. Oh, yeah, quarterback at Michigan, drafted by the Expos. And we said, hey, you're a good-looking kid. Go to Michigan and be the quarterback. I think you'll do okay.
And a ball popped back out of play.
22 years later, still playing, still winning Super Bowls. Yeah, I think he made the right decision.
Matt Wieters will identify the off speed and take it low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So with a slugger waiting. Pitch up. Wieters gets it in the air to right. Matt Joyce under it. 2 outs in the 7th. While the Nats are on the road, check out the Potomac Nationals tomorrow night. Military Appreciation Night at the Fitz. First 1,000 fans receive a free camo t-shirt. Game time 6:35. 703-590-2311 or PotomacNationals.com. Big breaking ball to Michael A. Taylor from Zach Neal, who's in his 3rd inning of work for Oakland. Nothing happening in the Nats bullpen. Strasburg at 89 pitches, so he's about to go out for the 7th. Got a pitch up. Hooks it to left. Taylor thinking 2 until Davis stops him. Puts his head down and fires into second base. Standing up, another extra base hit for Michael A. Taylor.
Well, a good hustle double with 2 outs by Michael A. Taylor. Chris Davis doesn't throw well at all, so this is a no-brainer for Michael A. Getting on top, rolling the wrist, another barrel to the baseball. So 2 for 4, double home run. And you see the odd throwing motion of Chris Davis, and Michael A. hustling in. Thought he had to slide. Pulls up with a stand-up 2-out double.
The numbers 8 and 9 men tonight are 4 for 7 as Brian Goodwin steps in. Ball 1. Another night of great clutch hitting by the Nats. This is also a team that dies hard when there are 2 outs.
Cooler seats. They're tough to get on StubHub.
Tanner Roark will pitch here Sunday. Joe Ross tomorrow in his hometown.
Got to ride a lot of buses and stay in bad hotels to get the cooler seats.
3-1. Goodwin goes deep to right center. See you later.
This team is so good. Come on.
Brian Goodwin, first career home run. I mean, that's where the big guys hit him up there above that 388 mark. And it's a 9-2 game.
Got to get that ball. Where is it?
Number 7, Trey Turner.
408 for number 8. And his first tater as a big leaguer. Congratulations, Brian Goodwin. Tell you what, this kid's staying, man. Every time we watch him, he does something. Whether it was the end of last year or right now, Brian Goodwin is a big leaguer. What a night. Great playing right. 3 hits, a home run. And where's the ball? Did we find it out there?
5 out of 8, the bottom 2 guys in the order. Each has hit a homer. Fantastic.
The only thing is, it went behind that wall. And I guarantee you more than 1 ball in batting practice went behind that wall. So how are they going to baseball authenticate it?
Well, hopefully the A's have those balls that say practice on them for BP.
Good call. All right, show me the tater again. He gets into a 3-1 count. First one of his career. You know, you got 2 hits already. You're relaxed. You're not thinking about anything. See ball, hit ball, gone. And where did it land? Oh, yeah, off the pole. Over Ricky.
And now Trey Turner, a base hit. 3 hits in a row with 2 outs.
Hits happen. Boys are having fun. Is that the mark on the pole where his ball hit? One of those is. I think the one right under the light, right there. Whoops, I drew over it. Right there. There it is.
I mean, that's a 15-foot wall. It's 388.
I mean,
impressive. Nats have hit 4 tonight.
If he hits that in the first couple of innings, it's maybe in the upper deck out there. Ball was touched.
Now batting, number 28.
Bryce Pipp?
Jason Worth.
Anyone? No. Sorry. Can't even. No.
Jason Worth, homer last time up. Top of the out-of-town scoreboard in left field.
So I'm hearing they clean up the balls after BP out there, so maybe you got a chance of getting that one back, and I'm sure Wally's on it right now. Probably sprinting out there himself to get it.
On a pitch up, Worth to left. Chris Davis onto the track. So the Nats strike for 2 more, and Goodwin, little personal history. First big league homer. A couple of RBIs attached to it. And we're going bottom 7. Steven Strasburg about to throw his 90th pitch. Stephen Vogt, the Oakland catcher, leads off. Strasburg's last 4 outs have been swinging strikeouts.
Picked up Daniel Murphy big time. Love it. Good take by Stephen Vogt for Ryan Zimmerman. Vote for Ryan. Go to your computer right now. Hack on in there and vote as much as you want. I think vote for Ryan. There we go. I don't know if you can overpower Cubs Nation right now. They're going nuts with the Anthony Rizzo vote, but that guy you're looking at deserves to be the starting first baseman on the All-Star team. So I'm going to wear it out. I don't care what you think.
Agreed. Center cut heater. Good job of Vogt turning that thing around. And for the Athletics, only their 3rd hit tonight. Trevor Plouffe is next.
Third baseman, number 3, Trevor Plouffe.
You know, another trip to Miami is never a bad thing, right? That's where the All-Star game is this year.
Correct.
Next year, though, how cool would it be if Ryan, the face of the franchise, made the All-Star team with the game in D.C.? That would be awesome.
Hot shot. Murphy stays with it. Turner turns. 4-6-3. Nats 55th double play of the year, and they're 4th in the National League as far as most double plays.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Last inning, Steven Strasburg picked Daniel Murphy up. He dropped a line drive. This inning, Daniel Murphy picks up Steven Strasburg with a beautiful play going to his right. Nails feed right on the money to Trey Turner, who turns the 4-6-3 double play. So that's why the good ones, hey, they make an error behind you, you pick them up. That's how it works. And look at Steven Strasburg's pointing to Daniel Murphy, atta baby, because they pick you up more times than not. Nice play, Daniel Murphy.
Strasburg getting toward the end of his evening here. Rajay Davis. Bullpen is working. That's up the middle, a base hit. 3 pretty sharply hit balls in this inning. And in the American League ballpark, you can take out a pitcher when you think he's done. You don't have to worry about pinch hitters and double switches. Now the Nats road ahead, driven by your local Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyFirst.com. 4 o'clock game tomorrow for you. Joe Ross, Daniel Mengden for the A's. Tanner Roark and their ace, Sonny Gray. Although Sonny's only 2-2 with a 4.72 ERA. Then it's on to Dodger Stadium. So we'll see how this weekend goes before that big test down in SoCal.
You mean for the Dodgers? Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a test for both teams, and especially for the Dodgers. Yeah, Blake Trinan's been up and throwing for a while now. First time the Athletics have 2 hits in an inning tonight. Matt Joyce can't reach the disappearing changeup. Now the high riding fastball. Changing eye levels, changing speeds, and pitch number 100 coming.
Nice round number. I'm all in for 100 pitches and shutter.
Yeah, this is definitely his last inning. Oh my.
Perfect.
Changeup, heater, curveball. See ya. 7 for Strasburg tonight. The 8th time this year he has done this. It's all Nats and the big right-hander tonight.
lives in the state of Virginia. And what do you have to do to legally change your middle name to Hitz in the state of Virginia? Murph 3 for 3 tonight. Just another home 3 for Daniel Murphy. Oh, throw a tater in there on top of it, too. So Daniel hits, as in 3 of them. Murphy going for number 4 right here. Do you know?
I have no idea. Maybe.
Well, figure it out.
Maybe disavow your previous history.
Oh,
with the
look at
Mets.
this.
That's a shot to right center. And for Daniel Murphy, a 4-hit night. Already had his 20th multi-hit game of the year. 4th inning of work for Zach Neal, and he's probably getting tired of this.
Maybe you change your first name to Hitz. I think his parents would be all right with that. I don't know if his wife or he would be okay with it. Just Hitz Murphy. Change your first name. I'm going to Google it because you weren't very enthusiastic with your answer.
Well, they never covered that one in broadcasting school, how to discuss a name change during a big league telecast, so I'm as eager to find out as you are.
I'm on it.
Ish. Strike 1 to Zimmerman. Ryan 1 for 4, but an RBI attached to his 4th inning hit. He's driven in 45 this year. The Nationals have 16 hits. Blake Trinan sat down for a few moments at the end of the 7th inning. Strasburg 100 pitches, 64 strikes. Blake is back up, and he'll be handling things in the top of the 8th. Pardon me, bottom of the 8th. On a pitch up, Zimmerman to left. It's still going, and up against the wall, dropped by Chris Davis. Kind of a tricky base running play for Daniel Murphy going around the second base bag, and so he ends up there, and Zimmerman a long single, unless they rule that a really tough error.
No, he can't give a guy an error jumping up against the wall. There's no way. I mean, there's nothing routine about this play. So mark it down. 2 for Ryan. Chris Davis jumping up in the wall, can't hang on. And Daniel Murphy coming around second base gave Ryan Zimmerman the stop sign. Like, hey, I'm not going to third. I'm staying here. You stay at first. Maybe we can see it right here. Watch Murph at the top of the screen. He's emphatically telling Ryan to stay at first.
Yeah.
So he went all Bob Henley at second base. Hits happen.
17 of them now. Nobody out. Here's Adam Lind.
So you just complete an application for a Social Security card, proof of your change of name, proof of your identity, such as your driver's license, and proof of U.S. citizenship. Easy, that easy. Did Chad Ochocinco do that?
In Ohio or Kentucky, maybe?
Yeah. Hits Murphy.
Adam Lind grounding out 2 innings ago against Zach Neal. So right now he's 3 for 7 career against him. Not often you face a reliever twice in the same game. Right now, Zach Neal soaking one up for the bullpen here. And that's going to beat the shift. Lind a base hit. No stop sign for Murphy or anybody this time, and the Nats lead 10-2. Adam Lind, 17th RBI.
Adam Lind joined the party. He's had some good swings tonight, so now he turns an 0 for 3 into a 1 for 4 with an RBI. Nicely done. Murph cruising around third. 10-2. Line moving here in the 8th. Offense is cool.
It's Adam Lind's 6th career run batted in against Zach Neal. Anthony Rendon 1 for 4. He's lined out twice. Still nobody out here in the 8th.
5th time this year the Nats have had 18 or more hits. 5th time. Dusty Baker looking for number 1800. It's looking pretty bueno right now. Do you celebrate that? I mean, Joe Madden had a glass of wine at his press conference when he won 1,000.
I'm sure a couple of veterans in the Nats clubhouse have something on tap.
1,800.
18 hits for 1,800. I like it. How about 19 hits? Rendon deep to left. See you later. It's 13-2. Anthony Rendon's RBI total jumps up to 35 on his 10th homer.
The 6th time this year the Nats have scored 13 or more runs. 6th time. Newsflash, this team's really, 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 really good. Like, who's better? Tell me. Talk amongst yourselves.
Second time the Nats have hit at least 5 home runs in a game this year. 7 against the Mets the day Rendon went nuts in that 23-run game last day of April. Ground ball. Good play there. Well done by Alonso to the pitcher for the first out.
Yeah, obviously a long way to go in the season, but the way they're swinging it, the starting pitching, the defense, how deep the lineup is, the bullpen's starting to figure it out. This is the best team I've seen since I've been here.
New pitcher, that is Daniel Coulomb. Straight ahead.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Beautiful Bay Bridge, new span over there on the right side, coming over from San Fran. The Nats came across that bridge this afternoon, and they are hammering the Oakland pitching staff tonight, facing Washington for the first time. Left-hander Daniel Coulomb, 27 years of age.
A fastball, slider, curve, fastball 90.
First pitch, Trevor Plouffe on a hot shot by Michael A. Taylor.
Well, that's where the Raiders played. It's basically a football score here tonight. 21st appearance. ERA at 2.70. Throws the slider 32% of the time.
Ryan Goodwin.
So Brian Goodwin's first at bat after his first big league homer. 3 for 4 night. He gets a lefty-lefty matchup here.
I'm telling you, the play he made in the second inning might have been the turning point of this game. Steven Strasburg came out through 6 straight balls, trying to find his way on a new mound, new ballpark. Hadn't pitched here before. As a second hitter of the second inning, Ryan Neely hit a bolt to the gap, and he laid out, caught it. And maybe that's the play that relaxed Steven Strasburg to settle into this one.
How about a 4-hit night for Goodwin? And that one can't be cut off by Davis. Brian's going to go for 3 here. He's going to be 1 tick off of a cycle tonight with 2 singles, a homer, and now a triple. And his buddies in the dugout love it.
Single, single, homer, triple.
Number 7, Trey Turner.
Look at the eyes light up. Saw the pitch down the middle, strokes into the right center field gap, and what a night for Brian Goodwin. And watch him run a little bit. MVP of this one for sure. What a night.
First triple this year.
Nats need a double for the cycle this inning.
Goodwin now batting .310. He gained 102 points on his batting average tonight. Trey Turner's had a couple of knocks, 1 for an RBI, a steal, a run scored. Looks at the hook and it misses.
Brian never played in this ballpark. I was talking to him on the bench before the game. I said, you can see it real big here. The batting eye's awesome. And he actually liked the place. He liked it even more after the game. What a night.
Now Steven knows how Joe Ross feels.
No kidding.
Third time the Nats have had 20 hits in a game this year. On the edge. Blake Treinen working on his 4th inning of warming up. Wilmer Difo is on deck. Get Jason Worth off his feet for the rest of the night. See how Dusty plays the big game tomorrow. And Turner thought he had walked, but he strikes out instead. Anthony Rendon, 3-run homer. The Nats are making the big old Coliseum look a little small tonight.
Strasburg, look at that, going 7-1 with a 2.91. He started the night 6-1 with a 2.94. So 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, 100 pitches, 64 of those for strikes. Walked 3 hitters tonight. Frustrated a bunch of hitters. The changeup was fantastic. Righted the ship after throwing 6 straight balls to start this, and had a really, really good night, just like everybody else. The Washington area Toyota dealers help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. 13-2.
28-year-old Blake Trinan, 24th appearance. Pours in the fastball at 97 to Chad Pinder, faces him for the first time.
By the way, working ahead, nice.
Wilmer Defoe is going to play some left field tonight. Give Jason Worth the rest of the night off. Looking to lead off the 9th inning. In on the hands. Here comes Rendon on the run. Zimmerman into foul ground, then he stays on the bag. Chad Pinder approaching right, had to scoot over to his left.
Well, 13-2, interesting play. Anthony Rendon coming in hot. Throw kind of sailed, and watch Ryan do a nice job of avoiding a 2-car pileup at first. Lost in all that was a really good pitch by Blake Trinan after jumping ahead. Mild jamage.
Next up, Jed Lowry. 0 for 3 tonight. Couple of grounders and that line drive to Murphy last time up. Liam Hendricks. And Trinan, 89 down and in. Missing low again.
Flex your muscle and start working on your summer tan with a Flag Day Patriotic Tank Top that's presented by Budweiser. June 14th, 4:05 start against the Braves. First 15,000 fans ages 21 and up. Go to nationals.com/tickets to get your tank top tickets against the Braves Day thing.
Mark Canha will hit for Chris Davis here. Eight-year-old infielder, outfielder from San Jose. Blake Trinan throws a strike and gets that patented ground ball. 6-4-3 double play. Zimmerman the dig on the end. So here we go to the ninth. How about the pitching staff this evening? On Masson, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA. Beautiful new span of the Bay Bridge. Things moving fast on a Friday night. Liam Hendricks, 28 years of age, from Perth, Australia. And he will take over, the lefty, right-hander. They have one lefty out there, and he was traded over here from Toronto for Jesse Chavez a year ago, November.
Do you know what station we can listen to the game on here?
I'm not sure what's. There's got to be a sign in the ballpark somewhere. You're talking about A's radio? Wilmer Difo, by the way, first appearance career in left field. So he gets to lead off here.
10 times this year, teams have had 20 hits in a game. The Nats have 3 of them. I mean, all the numbers are rolling in right now. It's just crazy. It's only the second time in Nats history they've had 9 different players with a hit and an RBI. What else?
There's the new left fielder, Mark Canha, and veteran Adam Rosales takes over at second base for Jed Lowry.
What a night.
Yeah, big league home run and 3 other hits, plus one of the year's best plays in the outfield. Difo lays off of that. It's only the 10 o'clock hour here in Oakland. We're enjoying this Friday night. For those of you still up with us, thank you. Got some afternoon baseball for you at 4 o'clock DC time Saturday. Wilmer Difo getting around very late. Joe Ross, first game against his hometown team. Daniel Mengden, first game against the Nats.
Yeah, Berkeley's just about 10 minutes from here. Depending on where you grew up in Berkeley.
And Wilmer having a nice long at bat here, seeing lots of pitches. Taking some hacks.
Trying to jump on that hit train.
And that one, about 3 or 4 feet foul down in the corner. Well, our Stars and Stripes flying on a Friday night here on the West Coast. It's our Navy Federal Credit Union troop recognition, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years, federally insured by NCUA. We have another military appreciation night coming up on the next homestand. Right now it's the bottom of the order appreciation committee over there.
Yeah, guys are having fun.
Difo, fair ball, but it's right at Canha in left field for the first out, top of the 9th. Saw Blake Trinan in that shot. I find it interesting that lately in his appearances, when the bullpen's fresher and they're not pitching 2 or 3 innings at a time, some of these guys, he's starting to throw more double play balls than he had in the first 2 months of the season.
They're getting ahead in the count. Hitters are on the defensive, and when they're on the defensive, their swings aren't as aggressive, and they're hitting ground balls. I mean, strike one is so big. And he's been throwing strike one. He'll chip away at that ERA in the numbers. Bullpen's starting to lock it in.
Big hook. Kendall Murphy against Liam Hendricks here for the first time.
When you're 4 for 5 and you're hitting 337 and you're coming up your 6th time, this is like being at a blackjack table in a casino, up a bunch. And
house money.
House money. Let it rip, baby.
Murph's never had a 5-hit game. th time he's had 4 hits in a game.
17 times. That's a lot.
In the air to left. Long run for Canna. Near the line, and it's just foul.
Hey, raise your hand if you thought that was dropping for hit number 5. I mean, just the way he's going, the way this ball club's going, I'm shocked that it was just foul. Shocked. That close to 5 for.
Right down the middle. 2 down. Ryan Zimmerman, one more AB tonight.
Number 11, Ryan Zimmerman.
Fastball for a strike. One more thought on the pitching staff. The staff ERA coming into the game tonight, 4.00. So for the first time in quite a while, that thing will be starting with the number 3 when we leave the yard tonight, unless there's some kind of catastrophic bottom of the 9th. So Ryan, 2 more hits tonight, 69 on the season. RBI number 45. Heads down and in, 3-1. He'll be on for the 3rd time.
You know, I did a radio interview with a station in Sacramento today, and they were asking me what's different about this ball club from years past. And I said,
Number 26.
This season has a different feel to it. And as a player, you start to take notice of all the little things that have happened. The comeback wins, Ryan Zimmerman's resurgence, Bryce Harper back to form, Max Scherzer backing up his Cy Young performance. And then you start to think as a player, little things like balls hitting 3rd base and staying fair. You know, nights like tonight, you stay in the same hotel for 7 days in a row, which never happens in the big leagues. And you have an off day, and on that off day, the Warriors are playing in the NBA Finals. So as a player, you start to think of all these things that, hey, this might be our time. This might be our year, and it's more than the obvious. It's kind of everything all-inclusive. And this season has a different feel to it than it has in the past, per se. In 14 with Matt Williams, there was never that magical moment during the season where you heard the click. And I think even last year with Dusty Baker's ball club, they were good, they won, but there wasn't that magic going. Everyone's talking about Ryan scuffles, Bryce scuffling, this and that. And I don't know, I know it's just June 2nd, there's a long way to go in the season, but from all the games I've seen sitting up here, this season has a very, very different feel to it, almost magical, if you will, this early in the year. 3 months to go. But it's just got a different feel.
Well, after tomorrow's game, the season will be 1/3 of the way over.
4 months to go, whatever it is. It has a different feel to me than any other one. And you know, I've already said it tonight. This is the best team I've seen since I've been here. And if the bullpen keeps figuring it out, you know, I feel like they're having a Cubs-type season as far as the wins go, like the Cubs did last year. Everything kind of clicking for this ball club, and we'll see if it continues. Been fun to watch so far, hasn't it?
It has, and I remember a conversation you and I had during one of our spring training games where we thought there was a different feeling in the clubhouse, more of a mission this year, because everybody is sick and tired of the first round exits in the playoffs. There have been 3 of those, and nobody wants that to happen again.
I mean, and it could, but then again, you just have a different feeling, and if I'm feeling it up here, I know those guys are feeling it down there.
2-2 pitch. This one up the middle, hits the back of the mound and right at the bag. Pinder unassisted. The Nats will put up 13 runs on 20 hits tonight.
Earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And if you're still watching, you probably had a few. It all started with Brian Goodwin making this amazing catch in the second inning, robbing Ryan Healy of extra bases. Then he got to a 3-1 count in the 7th and his first big league home run. Came up in the 8th again because the line's been moving crazy style here in Oakland tonight. Hits his first triple of the season. So single, homer, triple. Great play and right. And you're our Miller moment and the MVP of this one, Brian Goodwin. I think he heard us.
So Blake Treinen, 10 pitches, 5 strikes to get 3 outs, including that double play, bottom of the 8th. Back to work here. Yonder Alonso, 2 for 3 career against Blake. Rajay Davis, the only other athletic who has faced him. And a drive to center. Taylor backing up. Gone. Yonder Alonso, his 15th of the year. And he's got a 2 for 4 night with a couple of extra base hits. It's now 13-3.
Now batting designated hitter, number 25,
Ryan Healy is next.
Hey, back to my point, right? 0-1, weak contact, 1-0, hitters on the aggressive. It's all right, throwing strikes, who cares?
Good hook. Byron Kerr and Ray Knight in the studio for you this morning. It's the Nats Extra Postgame Show. When this one's over, presented by W.B. Mason. Two-2 pitch. Wild slider there.
Slider in the dirt, Matt Wieters. Not a whole lot you can do with this except for little ricochet.
He was looking for it straight up. Threw him a fastball, base hit. Healy a 1-for-4 night. Stephen Vogt, the catcher, is next. Back in the strike zone, things are even here in the bottom of the ninth. Vogt tonight, fly ball to right, strike out, base hit up the middle. Erased on Strasburg's double play ball back in the 7th.
Try to run that fastball back here, maybe.
There it is, and that ball is gashed into right field. 3 hard hit balls here in the bottom of the 9th. Trevor Plouffe will be next. Game 2 tomorrow. It's a 4 o'clock game. Back in D.C., Joe Ross 2-1 in his 5 starts. The Nationals are 4-1 and giving him over 13.5 runs per game of support. Can they do that again? This is Daniel Mengden, who will be opposing him. Lost his only start of the season at Cleveland. He got knocked around a bunch. 7 hits, 5 runs in 3 1/3. And we'll get you going with Nats Extra at 3:30 tomorrow. Trevor Plouffe 0 for 3.
A little Chris Cornell tribute on the walk-up song. I like it. Sinker in for a ground ball. Get a couple outs in one pitch. That's what Mike Maddox probably just told Blake Treinen.
'97 nasty to the inside edge. Great location for the slider.
But you see how strike one played right there? He threw strike one in the inner half, and now as a hitter, I don't know what's coming. And if I'm Trevor Plouffe, I'm thinking, okay, he's going sinker in again. He goes slider to the other side, and you saw the breakdown in the swing. You don't see 1-0 swings like that. You do see 0-1 swings like that.
That was close. Quinn Wolcott says he held.
From the side. Whoa.
That was close.
Usually in the 13-3 game, if you blink wrong, it's a swing.
Got him. Hard slider in the dirt. First strikeout for Blake. First out, 9th inning. Next up, Rajai Davis.
You don't want to think about your numbers while you're standing on the hill, but if you're going to chip away at an ERA that got away from you in April, it's got to be a few scoreless innings back to back to back. You already gave up the home run this inning, and right now you're pitching for yourself basically in a 13-3 game. This has nothing to do with the ball club. You're trying to get your numbers down right here, right now.
Rajai Davis 1 for 3 career against Blake Treinen. One of the at-bats was a double play ball. Fastball down. Perfect on the outside edge. 2-1.
And Dusty's not going deeper into his bullpen, and that's why, hey, it's me time right now on the mound. This is all about me getting my outs and getting my ball club in the clubhouse.
That hit his foot. Foul ball.
Good pitch.
Two up in the zone, and a weak foul ball off to the right.
You could double up, Davis, but it just has to be crisp right at somebody.
How crisp. 6, 4, 3. Game over. Dusty, number 1,800, the 16th skipper in big league history to get to that level. Unless the A's want to take a look at this close play at first. Are we indeed not done. There are photographers on the field. There are some umpires walking toward the exit. And
it's 13-3.
I guess we're done.
All right. Congratulations, Dusty Baker. 1,800 wins. Way to go.
Blake Trinan throws another double play ball, and this one's over. And now Dusty is on a level where only 16 managers in the history of baseball have made it. 1,800. And his guys made it a no-brainer tonight with 13 runs on 20 hits.